Criminal defense attorney Ryan Brown to talk about this case. He mentioned the observed signs of abuse from other people about Melissa, that she had black eyes, that she had bruises and scratches, and that this was an abusive husband situation. He also talked about there being the existence of a saw that had been stolen and an entity that was fired over it. And we know that there was a dismemberment here that experts are going to say happened perhaps with a saw. Talk about what makes a cold case very difficult.
Yeah, so there's a few obvious things that make these cold cases difficult. And I'm sure this is a prosecutor with a number of years of experience that he's investigated these things. But A is witnesses, right? So as a defense lawyer, we often think of cases from this defense perspective as getting better with time, like wine, right? But in these cases, witnesses go away. They forget. They don't remember. They move. They get hard to track down. The memories get vague. That's going to be something that the state has to fight with here or deal with is witnesses' memory. We start talking about this saw that he's been accused of taking. Who's going to prove that, right? If I'm the defense, I'm going to be highlighting that as something the state's promised, and I'm going to be looking for, who is the witness who can say that he was accused of this? Can they prove it? What is their memory like? What were their ties? Did they have a motive? And you're going to be dealing with a lot of experts who have to come in and deal with difficult forensic evidence that, the science has changed tremendously over the past almost 30 years. So a lot of things like that can make these cold cases unique challenges for the state.
Ryan, you mentioned witnesses and their memories. We're talking about daughters of this defendant and the victim who are going to come in. They couldn't have been more than 3, 4, 5 years old at the time that their mother disappeared. But we learned in this opening statement that the prosecution says this daughter is going to say, my dad used to say he knows how to get away with murder, that he had a place to go to if he was on the run. How much credibility is the jury going to give to a child's memory? Of course, now these are going to be adult women coming into the courtroom, especially given the fact that they lived with their father all of these years after their mother's disappearance.
That's right. And we'll never know exactly how much credibility the jury is going to give them. And we probably won't even have an idea until the case plays out. But I would expect the defense in this case to really demonstrate to the jury how memory works, right? That memory is not a verbatim recall. We deal with this a lot of times when we're dealing with cases where there are child witnesses. That memory is a reconstruction, not a verbatim recall, and that things can impact that memory, like, outside influences. The reason people say if you tell yourself something enough, it becomes true is because memory really can be affected by that. So I would expect the defense to really focus on how memory works, especially in a small child, and the fact that they've been exposed, unfortunately, to the situation where there's a grandfather serial killer, a father accused of murder now, and really focus on how those things